Welcome to another video in the Medicine and Watercolour series. This video will explain your heart's anatomy and how it functions. The key thing that you need to understand is how your body has adapted to make blood flow most efficiently through your body, using energy to get blood to your organs and saving energy getting it back to your heart. So, if we were to open your rib cage, this is what your heart would look like. It has a right atrium, which is where blood comes into your heart from the rest of your body. The right ventricle, which pushes blood from your heart to your lungs. Your left atrium, which gets blood from your lungs. And your left ventricle, which pushes blood from your heart to the rest of your body. So, if we were to open it up, you would see right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Getting oxygenated blood anywhere in the body is the most important job of the circulatory system. So, this is where the most energy is spent. The goal is to get blood away from your heart. This is the job of the arteries. I always remember this because A for away reminds me that arteries, which also start with an A, take blood away from your heart. So, again, any vessel that takes blood away from the heart is called an artery. So, to do this as fast as possible, this system has a high pressure, and arteries also have thick walls full of muscle. The parts of your heart that push blood away, which are called your left and right ventricles, also have thick muscular walls, and this is how you can identify them in the heart. To get blood back to the heart, we need veins. I always remember my alphabet for this one. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, carry on, T, U, V. So, if I say TU as to, then I can remember that V for veins goes to the heart. This process is less urgent, so it uses less energy and has lower pressure. Vein walls do not have muscles to push, so they are thinner. But they have valves, which look like half moons, hence being called semilunar valves, and these allow blood to go through them, but to not travel back to the organs and mix with the good oxygenated blood that is coming from your arteries, away from your heart. The areas of your heart that get blood from veins also have thin walls and are called the atria. In ye olden days, a guest would wait in a room called an atrium if you went to visit someone's house. Because the blood coming from the veins is awaiting to enter the ventricles in these areas, we call these areas the left atrium and the right atrium. So, how does this all work together in the great thing that we call our circulatory system? Well, it's never ending, but let's start somewhere. So let's start at the lungs, where you breathe in air, which has a lot of oxygen in it. Blood gets oxygen here through diffusion, and it goes via the pulmonary vein, pulmonary meaning lung, to the heart. Remember, therefore it must be a vein, even though it has high oxygen levels. Even though we call this high oxygen level blood oxygenated blood, and this is normally carried in arteries, because it's going to the heart, it's actually called the pulmonary vein. So it goes to the left atrium to wait to be let into the left ventricle, and a valve opens, letting it through, and closes as the left ventricle's muscles contract, so that all of the blood is pushed away from the heart via the arteries into the body, and the biggest artery is called the aorta. From here, it goes to the head and to your brain, to your liver, your gastrointestinal tract, which we call your GIT for short, your skeletal muscles, your kidneys, and all your other organs, and of course, the largest organ of them all, your skin. These use the oxygen in the blood, and when the blood has less oxygen, we can call it deoxygenated blood. The organs no longer need the deoxygenated blood, so these go into smaller blood vessels called capillaries. And the areas where arteries or arterioles, which are smaller versions of arteries, where oxygenated blood stays, and veins, where your deoxygenated blood leaves the organs, are called an anastomosis. So, how does this area work? How does the blood get from the arterioles via the capillaries into the veins? Well, it is pushed from the blood in the arteries. The ventricles and arteries push blood towards the organs, sort of like how a tap or pump will push out water. The veins are more like a hosepipe. They carry the blood like a hosepipe carries water, but they don't actually do anything except giving a direction to this blood. The direction, of course, flowing back to the heart. The new blood coming into these anastomoses pushes the deoxygenated blood out via these veins, and as it goes back to the heart, the valves stop the deoxygenated blood from going back to the organs, which often has to occur against gravity, as most of the time we are standing upright. The blood goes back to the heart via the veins, and that eventually join to form the vena cava, which has a top, superior part, and the bottom, inferior part. The superior vena cava empties into the right atrium, where the blood waits to go into the right ventricle. When the valve opens to let the blood into the right ventricle and closes as the right ventricle pushes the blood into the pulmonary artery, which is taking blood away, A for artery, from the heart, even though it's deoxygenated blood. Ultimately, this pulmonary artery will take your deoxygenated blood back to your lungs, where it can pick up more oxygen via diffusion and again start the whole process. As easy as it is to imagine that this process is a step-by-step sort of situation, it's important to remember that this is continuously flowing throughout your entire body. Thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe if you want to see more like it in the future, and remember to like it if you liked it.